Hello everyone. We traveled to and we have Gordon sitting there, wants to talk to us about the beautiful tea farm that we have in Tassie. I've been in that tea farm in 2019. So before going through our tea chat somehow, I want to have Gordon to go through some sort of introduction.
Oh, hello everyone. I hope you all enjoy your cups of tea. My farm is tiny, absolutely minuscule, just sort of only half a hectare, but we absolutely adore it.
That's great. So would you like to elaborate a little bit about yourself, Gordon, or what you're doing?
Okay, I'm a agricultural research scientist, and I just fell in love with tea when I was working with it back in the 1980s and 1990s.
Wow.
And as a result, we just planted some tea plants as a result from mid-1990s on. And we've just been growing. We're finding it such a nice crop to grow. Each year we plant some more. And it's a bit silly, really, but okay, we just get bigger and bigger.
That's great, mate. So this is based on what you're telling me, Gordon, it's more than 20 years. Am I right? You said mid-90s?
Yeah, it's close to 30. Yeah, well, I've been involved in tea since about 1990, so it's about 50 years that I've been involved. We planted our planting out mid-90s, so I guess that's 25 years of tea.
That's great, mate. And even though I've been in the tea farm, but I want you to explain for our followers, whoever watching this tea chat, what sort of tea you are growing in that tea farm, Gordon?
Okay, we grow the Chinese tea, or the tea plants they grow in Japan, China. That's typically used for making of green tea. So we were the first planting in Australia, commercial planting of green tea. Now, tea, of course, is interesting. You can actually make black tea from green tea bushes, and you can make green tea from black tea bushes. But the Chinese bush is a little bit more tolerant of cold weather, so it's brilliant for growing down here.
That's great. So you have a variety of different tea based on the green tea that you have. The leaf. You can make a variety of tea. Am I right? In your tea farm.
Look, I'm a research scientist, so because people are blending tea to get different flavors. And I say to people, I can actually process it a different way to get a different flavor. So, for instance, some people actually like a fishy flavor in their tea, in their green tea. And I discovered years ago that if I actually add some wine yeast to the tea after I've blanched it and let it ferment for a week, it's just come out exquisitely.
Wow.
But we've never actually made that a commercial product. It was just a fascinating sort of discovery. And great. Yeah, we just process ours to give the flavors that we're after.
Okay, that's great. So you mentioned you have been the first as a green tea somehow grower in Australia. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The line is not good that much enough. Okay, sorry. Can you repeat what you said there, Gordon?
I'm trying to remember what I just said. The line is terrible. That's the trouble with regional Australia, that NBN is terrible. What was I saying? I can't remember now.
That's all right, buddy. That's all right. If you want to elaborate a little bit more on the tea industry and tea culture, what you can tell us in Australia, of course.
Well, the tea industry got established in Queensland way before it did down here. So that was sort of late 1800s, I think was the first planting that went in up there. But it was more like the 1960s when it really got going with Narada. Okay. Based on the black tea, and then the green tea came in down here. We showed various companies down here how we could grow green tea successfully, and as a result of that, we got the investments in New South Wales and Victoria underway. But yeah, nothing happened in Tasmania except for me.
That's great, mate. That's great. And considering the people and the people's culture when they go to the cafe or anything, do you want to add anything? Since what my understanding is still the people more of a coffee lover than a tea lover. Of course, maybe this is all around the world. But do you want to say anything, especially in Tassie or in Australia, about the people's culture for tea?
Yeah, I'm always amazed that when we go out and go to markets, everyone knows tea, everyone drinks tea, but they don't buy tea when they're out. So when you talk to them, you discover that they have their cup of tea when they get up in the morning over breakfast, and then the smell, the aroma, the whole performance of making. Yeah, we used to have people drinking tea during the day, but now it's fascinating. Everybody loves tea. Everyone drinks tea, but they don't buy it when they're a cup of tea when they're out. Instead, they buy other beverages.
Okay, that's good. Thanks for sharing, Gordon. Okay, you have had massive experience. You're talking about 30 years or so or more about tea experiences. In those 20, 30 years somehow, do you remember anything funny or interesting happened to you?
I guess that's an. I'll pick up on something very recent. Because when we first started here, we just had open paddocks, and we had people running around shooting wallabies and possums and all the other animals. But over the years, we've got more and more houses here, and the wallabies have become more of a problem. So 2 years ago, we actually decided to stop wallabies jumping on our tea. They don't buy knives, they don't eat it, they just jump on it. So we constructed a wallaby-proof fence around the outside to keep the wallabies out. But very quickly discovered that this has a negative problem in that the wallabies that you fence in stay in, and we managed to fence in 12 wallabies in our tea planting.
Wow.
And it took us months to get them out because they are impossible to herd out a gate. But I relayed this to a colleague that I've got in Scotland, actually, the northern grower. We're the most southern grower, and we're talking to the most northern grower too. And he's had a similar problem, but it's with deer. So can you imagine how big a fence he's had to fence his tea off from the deer. So I think we've done quite well.
That's great. Regarding your business and the farm, do you have any plan to grow the business over there, to grow the farm or something like that? Any plan?
Well, my plan at the moment is not to actually plant more areas, but actually get what we've got producing a lot better. So we're now planting in between where there's hollows, making the crop far more even. My daughter's moved in and she's taking over marketing and doing all sorts of things that I've never dreamt of. So you'll find our presence on social media suddenly appeared. I'm too grey in the hair to do too much social media, but when you've got a younger daughter who's keen on it, gosh.
That's great. That's great, Mike. That's great. So, based on what you mentioned and what we discussed so far, if you want to touch on the tea industry, considering that we have tea farm in Queensland or in other states, do you want to add anything else that you have forgotten to say or you missed to say?
Look, one of the things as a tea grower that I get a bit concerned is that we're caught up in a culture that tea has to be rolled, it has to be done this way. You have to steam it if it's a green tea. You have to roll it this way if it's green tea. And that's all based on history and trying to reproduce what has happened in other places. Australia is still quite young and innovative. We can actually start changing the process and making our own culture. We don't have to adopt somebody else's culture. So we don't follow the rules here at all. We process and grow our tea in a totally different way to anywhere else in the world. And similarly, the products we're producing taste differently. And so we can actually encompass and take hold of the fact that we can actually do something that's different to the rest of the world.
That's great, mate. And that's good to see you guys, you in Tassie, other people in Queensland or other part of Australia growing tea, and we as Australian, we love to try our local tea. In top of my head, I don't have anything else to ask Gordon. Do you want to add anything else to our chat?
Oh, come and visit us one day.
Definitely.
My daughter started farm tours up now, so if anyone's coming here to Tasmania, feel free to ring up and organise a farm tour.
That's great, mate. That's great. Definitely. I've been there, as I said, in 2019. I'd love to come over there and visit you guys and have tea in that lovely tea farm. Considering the lockdown situation, hopefully maybe in a month or so, maybe we can travel to Tassie. I'm not sure, but great to see you, mate. Great to see you. Thanks for your time and for the chat. Stay safe, take care, and hope to catch up soon.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Take care.
Goodbye.